Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video, and this is a paid request for Chaz. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, movie reviews, re-reviews, random thoughts, streams, commentaries, tier lists, rankings, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. I do have a CashApp as well. Links are down below in the info box, and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. And well, he wanted me to look at this list of the top 10 highest grossing stars in leading roles. And this is how he puts it. I'd like to know your thoughts on which of these people you think actually is a box office draw, and if you think the methodology used to compile this list is fair, given that many roles are only side characters in an ensemble cast. So Zoe Saldana is officially the highest grossing actor of all time, thanks to hashtag Avatar Fire and Ash. So a lot of publications are running with this in this list, where number 1, Zoe Saldana. Number 2, Scarlett Johansson. Number 3, Sam Jackson. Number 4, Robert Downey Jr. Number 5, Chris Pratt. Number 6, Tom Cruise. Number 7, Chris Hemsworth. Number 8, Vin Diesel. Number 9, Chris Evans. Number 10, Dwayne Johnson. So first and foremost, to answer your first question, nobody's a box office draw anymore. Nobody. I mean, Tarantino, I may disagree with him on some things, but he's right about this. There are no stars anymore. People go, oh, that's Captain America, or that's Thor, or that's... what the fuck was his name in Jurassic World? Chris Pratt? I can't remember. Oh, that's Gamora. That's Black Widow. It's whatever big franchise their agent is lucky enough to get them into. And once that happens, then they could be set. And so, yeah, a lot of these folks, they're lucky enough to get into these big franchises. At times inherited from other people. But I mean, to be fair, some of them created from the ground up, like Avatar. Granted, Avatar, Ferngully, the Last Rainforest, and Dances with Wolves, and all sorts of other shit. But, you know, it did become very popular, very big of a hit. I don't give a fuck about Avatar. I didn't even see part 2 and 3. But it made money, and, you know. But no, none of these are box office draws. None of them. Arnold Schwarzenegger back to the day was a box office draw. People went to see for him. Predator, Twins, Kindergarten Cop, True Lies, Total Recall. There was a point Harrison Ford was a box office draw. There was a point where back in the day, Abbott and Costello were box office draws. Lauren Hardy, Bing Crosby, and Bob Hope. Those are Cheech and Chong. For a little bit was box office. I mean, when I say box office draw, I'm not talking about every film is going to make $100 million. But they have a budget, they make a profit, they continue more because people want to see them and what they are dealing with, what they are partaking in, how they work through this or that story. Those are technically box office draws. Tom Cruise was for a bit. And I would say of all these, Tom Cruise, I would say at one point, I don't think there's any box office draws anymore. I think people now just go towards a big event film, more than likely something that's connected with a franchise that they're familiar with, that they want to spend their money on. Otherwise, they'll just wait till streaming to watch it. That's why if you looked at the box office, the ones that are huge hits, maybe a horror film that people went with a crowd to see it for that audience participation. Does your group of friends, will they get scared? Will you date get scared? All that stuff. Or have fun or goof on the film. Or if there's blood and guts, cheer. All that stuff. Or it's anime. You know, people who are really into that realm and that genre. Or again, it's a big event film that they're familiar with the other ones, so we'll go see it. Just gives us stuff to talk about on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube or other social media platforms, because so many people want to be a star on social media. So I saw the big film, and let me talk about it, and like and subscribe. You know, that's the world we live in today. It's not because of an actor that the general public go to see anymore. So again, there are no such thing as box office stars anymore. Like, okay, Tom Cruise, back to the day, you looked at films like Risky Business, Top Gun, Rain Man, Born on the 4th of July, A Few Good Men, The Firm. Like, a film like The Firm made $270 million worldwide. Born on the 4th of July, that made $162 million. Rain Man, that made, if this thing would work, apparently $350 million worldwide. Even I didn't expect that. Holy shit, really? It made $172 million in the U.S. Do you imagine a film? Now, okay, it says $172 million worldwide, so I don't know if this is like from other stuff, so this not be accurate, but I just don't go with Box Office Mojo, because these $172 million in the U.S. Think about that. That's a lot of money. Can you imagine a film like Rain Man making that much money today? But Tom Cruise was his rising star, and people heard good word of mouth. Born on the 4th of July says $70 million. That's still pretty good profit considering it was a lower budget. The Firm, I just want to go with what it made in the U.S. Sorry, I'm doing this off the cuff and not pre-planned. $158 million. Again, The Firm, which I'm sure a lot of people barely remember the film, made over $150 million. Just, oh, this is a box office star. Interview with the Vampire, The Mission Impossible, Jerry Maguire, Minority Report, Collateral, War of the Worlds. Jack Reacher, the first one, made money. Oblivion. Edge of Tomorrow, I love. It didn't make as much money as it should have. Then the Mission Impossible films got bigger and bigger. Top Gun Maverick. Granted, those Mission Impossible films, for understanding, have dipped in box office. And then you had The Mummy, or The Crummy. He's doing this new film called Digger. I don't know if that's really going to do anything, honestly. But, you know, Leonardo DiCaprio, good actor. I don't know if I call him box office star. But, I mean, he would lead films that, you know, with Inception and even The Revenant, that could do maybe a bit of business. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, along with Brad Pitt. And you can make more of a case for them. But okay, Zoe Saldana, apparently $15.46 billion. Well, yeah, she has a good agent. She had a good agent that helped her pick the right roles. So you picked Avatar, and you got 3 of those movies, all huge hits. You got to be Uhura and Star Trek. There were 3 movies. They made some money. Then you got to be Gamora and Guardians of the Galaxy. All 3 of those films made money. And because you were her, you got to be in Avengers Infinity War. You got to be in Avengers Endgame. So, that'd be technically connected. So when you're connected with those massive franchises, yeah, it's going to seem like you're this big box office, but you're... Technically, it's all technicality. I mean, if there was a random... Hell, there could be someone who's an extra and he gets a lot of work. A random extra could be the highest grossing star of all time. And it says leading roles. I don't know if... Okay, if you don't say leading roles, then technically Avengers Endgame and Infinity War... I wouldn't even say Star Trek, those were leading roles in Star Trek. I mean, would you say Uhura was a leading role in those new Star Trek movies? She's in them. She's a major character, or one called a leading role. And then when she does lead, look at the results. The Absence of Eden. Do you remember that fucking film? No. Came out 2023, made $30,000. You remember Amelia Perez? Men to women, or women to men. Men to women, Penis to vagina. That's a real song. That made nothing. That was a bomb. It deserved a bomb. It was embarrassing. It was stupid. A lot of people said it was stupid. Emilio Perez was a fucking bomb. What was it? Absence of Eden. Damn. That was a bomb. Remember this movie called Colombiana? By the guy who directed Transporter 3? That film did not do well. It wants to say it did. Oh, it made 60 million. Worldwide, it cost 40 million. It made 36 million in the US. It's not too good. This is why she does not star in movies unless it's part of a damn Marvel Avatar franchise. And she's not technically the lead, she's the support. She's maybe the second or third on the card. The Adam Project, which I didn't see, I forgot that was a thing with Ryan Reynolds. That went, straight to Netflix or something? Amsterdam, wasn't that a flop? With Christian Bale? Yeah, it was a big, massive flop. Margot Robbie was in it. That was a huge flop. So no, she's not a box office draw. She just has a good agent. Same with Scarlett Johansson. She's not a good agent because she got to be in those Avengers movies. And those Avengers movies made a ton of... She had to be in Captain America the Winter Soldier. So technically she was in Iron Man 2, right? So that would count, I guess. Yeah, Iron Man 2 she was in. So that would count. Captain America the Winter Soldier. Avengers Age of Ultron. Captain America Civil War. I guess Thor Ragnarok, would that... I wonder if that counted, because there's archive footage of her. Infinity War she was in. Endgame she was technically in. Jurassic World Rebirth, again, another franchise. Technically was in that. Sing, which she wasn't a lead in that, but that was an animated film that did well. I mean, she was fourth on the list of that. I mean, I don't know if I call that a leading role. She was in The Jungle Book, a Disney movie. Now, what about the films like, okay, Rough Night? Rough Night maybe made back his budget? I remember Ghost in the Shell. Yeah, that film didn't do a whole lot. That film was a bomb. And I didn't even hate that movie. Black Widow even didn't do that well. Because too little too late, because Marvel was dwindling down the drain. But what else? Asteroid City, that was an independent film by Wes Anderson. Didn't do a whole lot. Lucy, that's what I'm looking for, Lucy. That was a film she starred in, which I didn't really care for. That's one of the only films she was a true star in that did fairly well. Lucy. But then after, I mean, hell, maybe at that time, in 2014, maybe she picked other projects, but no, she felt secure with the franchises. Avengers, Captain America, then Jungle Book, Ghost in the Shell, which didn't do well. Rough Night, which didn't do that great. Then she's in another Avengers movie. She has cameos in Captain Marvel and all Black Widow and she directed a film called Eleanor the Great that no one has fucking heard of. So no, people are not going to see films because of Scarlett Johansson. Lucy I guess that was just she got lucky. I don't know what to tell you about Lucy. But that was back in 2014. The only things people remember are these Marvel and now Jurassic World. Does people want this sort of... You'd have fucking dinosaurs on the goddamn screen playing cars while taking a dump in a ditch. And some people would go see Jurassic Park. It's the does. So's Barney. Fuck Barney the Dinosaur and fuck Jurassic World. Sam Jackson? Well, yeah, because he was in every other fucking film back in the day. I want to be in a Star Wars movie. I want to be in a Tarzan movie. I want to be in a Teen Kong movie. I want to be in a Marvel movie, Nick Fury. I want to be in a Spider-Man movie, which he did as Nick Fury. I want to be, in a Tarzan movie. I mean, I want to be in a Die Hard movie. I want to be... He was a Jurassic Park back in the day. Coming to America back in the day. Pulp Fiction. Multiple Tarantino films. So you'd have to be in the Star Wars prequels. You'd have to be in the Marvel films of Nick Fury. In Jurassic Park back in the day. And it's like, hey, can I be in King Kong? Can I be in Tarzan? Which didn't do much, but still. I'm sure whatever money he made, it all builds up. But I did look at the films he starred. The Man. Remember The Man with Eugene Levy? Yeah, nobody does. I like States on a Plane, but States on a Plane didn't do anything. They thought... See, that was a film they thought they were going to make a hit because it's going to be this B-movie hit. It's like, no, so bad is good. No, for a lot of people, when you try to do that on purpose, people roll their eyes. They go, I think it was funny. Wait, you're serious? You think I was actually going to see the film? Listen, I thought you were cute over there. But no, I don't actually want to date you. You're cute and all, but fuck off. That's what a lot of people felt about States on a Plane. I mean, I like States on a Plane, but not many people gave a shit about that movie. I should know because I saw it in the theater, and there was not many people in the theater. So you just look at the films he starred in. You can like the actor. You could be a fan and go, yeah, I'll see it. There, of course, every person has fans that will see it, but the collective of the group, the mass of the public, the general public. How many films did Sam Jackson star in by himself that wasn't, some franchise that people went to see? Especially lately. Freedom Land. I like Freedom Land. That film didn't do anything. Shaft. Remember he starred in Shaft? And that didn't do great. That's what I mean. You kind of had a sequel later, but it was about his son, because Sam was in it. So aesthetically it's related to that. And that didn't do anything. Sure, people don't even remember that. Robert Downey Jr., yeah, how many Marvel and Avengers films was he in? Iron Man 1, 2, and 3. Avengers 2, Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame. And then he got to do your Trop of Thunder. And at least with him, yeah, like Sherlock Holmes. I think Robert Downey Jr. had the potential. I think Sherlock Holmes, at least the first one, was a hit. He did that with 2009. Even, what was that film? Due Date? Was it Due Date? Which I liked. Zach Galifianakis. Which he was annoying in it, but I like Robert Downey Jr. in it. Remember that being a decent hit. So I think Robert Downey Jr. at a point was. At a point he was. But then he did that Dr. Dolittle and yeah, like Sherlock Holmes. Yeah, Due Date did decently. I thought that was fun. And then really he just didn't. I mean, he did The Judge, which was more for the acting legal drama, but I mean that didn't do a whole lot. Well, I mean, well, yeah, it had a $50 million budget and it made $47 million in the U.S. About $80 million worldwide, so it wasn't great. But really, I mean, since Sherlock Holmes 2, he did an Avengers, Iron Man 3, Avengers 2, Captain America Civil War, Spider-Man Homecoming, because yeah, he was in those. Infinity War, Endgame, He was in Oppenheimer. Remember that film All-Star Weekend that Jamie Foxx did that got completely shelved and Robert Downey Jr. was in? Wonder if they'll ever release that. But, yeah, Doolittle. That was a huge fucking bomb. That was him, like, trying to attempt to do something and just didn't work out. Chris Hemsworth, I mean, again, Thor films, Avengers films, and then wasn't he in one of the Guardians of the Galaxy films? Can't remember now. No, I guess Guardians were in one of his films. And technically there's 4 Thor films. I keep forgetting the 4th one for good reason. So you have 4 Thor films, all the Avengers films, they made a ton of money. And he tried to do be a lot of See, he needs to fire the agent and get with Zoe Saldana's agent. Or even Scarlett Johansson's agent. Which is funny because Scarlett and Chris were in Transformers 1, which didn't do that well. But yeah, he needs to get Zoe Saldana's agent. Because Chris Hemsworth tried to be in, he was in the Vacation reboot. He was in the Ghostbusters reboot, the 2016 one. He was in the Men in Black reboot, International. Mad Max, the Furiosa, he was in that one. So he tried. I would say the only thing worth the shit was Extraction. Which I don't even know if these include Netflix movies. I guess not. But Extraction 1 and 2 are Chris Hemsworth's best films, I think. Vin Diesel, the Fast and Furious films made a lot of money. And there you go, Vin Diesel is not a box office draw. The Fast and Furious films were at one point a box office draw, but not Vin Diesel. Because I like Pitch Black, and that did well for his budget. But look at The Chronicles of Riddick. Didn't do that well. Wasn't that good of a movie. Riddick, the third one, did not do that well. He did what was the Last Witch Hunter. That did not do well. He did Bloodshot. Remember that, based on the comic book? That did not do well. Even the last Triple X film he did, The Return of Xander Cage, didn't really do that well. That's why you have not seen another Triple X film. Because it made it seem as if that was going to be like the next Fast and Furious. He's come back, and no one gave a fuck. It's too late, and you just try to make it another Fast and Furious movie, not its own film. Again, Vin Diesel has those Fast and Furious movies. That's pretty much it. The Rock is another perfect example. He's not a box office draw. He could have been at one point. And he's been a big fan of, Jumanji sequels. He attached himself to Fast and Furious. He attached himself to that G.I. Joe sequel. But then Skyscraper did not do well. San Andreas did okay. But Skyscraper? No. The Jungle Cruise? Not really. His Netflix stuff, Red One, Red Notice, those were embarrassments. The Smashing Machine, look how much that belly flopped. That's supposed to be his chance for Oscar Gold. Fell flat on his fucking face. Not many people gave a fuck about that movie. To be fair, I have not seen the movie. But no, and hey, it could be a good movie. It could be a good movie, but that goes to show you, people were just sick and tired of The Rock. They were and they are sick and tired of him. They truly are. They're like, we don't want to see this guy anymore. Now, if it's part of a big franchise, will it be a hit? Probably, because people like to go see franchises in the form of like comfort food. They go in and they like what they saw before, and like Jack Black is not a box office attraction. People did not go see Minecraft, the movie, because of Jack Black. They went to see it because they loved the Minecraft game. Case in point, the new Anaconda. What did that do? Do you remember there was an Anaconda movie that came out? It made $56 million in the U.S. 54 and 112 worldwide. I don't know how much it cost. It says 45. Well, it cost 45 million and did 50 some million in the U.S. Because foreign, they don't get as much money as people think. So I'm trying to find The Rock's filmography. I can't find it. Just talking more about his wrestling. But yeah, yeah, sorry about that background noise. Yeah, Jungle Cruise. Yeah, Skyscraper. Central Intelligence I liked. Oh, remember Black Adam? Remember how that fucking bombed? If that didn't tell you he was a box office star, nothing else will. Fucking Black Adam. That's why he's going to try to come back to Fast and Furious, even though he does not like Vin Diesel, because he was at the end of that last Fast and Furious film. That's why he's the live action Moana, because the original Moana was a big hit, and he needs big hits. Because big hits means, oh, I'm still around, cast me in other stuff. So, yeah. So again, nobody's a box office draw nowadays. Even Tom Cruise. Because again, those Mission Impossible films didn't do the best. People are more either into recognizable franchises that feel like comfort food, and we're going to go see them because it reminds me of something we liked in the past. Especially if they're like, at one point it was Marvel, Jurassic Park, etc. Or if the concept has enough interest and spectacle and a wow factor for them that I have to see it because it's the talk of the TikTok and Instagram and other places, like the Barbenheimer effect, Barbie and Oppenheimer. You gotta go see this, you gotta be part of the crowd. Or a horror film, or some kind of genre, like an anime, that group of people go to see to have a good time as a group effort in a weird way. But nothing is based on stars. That's what I'm getting at. None of it is based on stars anymore. The era of the movie star is dead and gone. And I don't see anybody coming up to just... And I think also it doesn't help that because of social media, so many of these actors appear and you find out about them and then it's like, what? Whether it be political, whether it be religious, whether it be something they said, something they did, something they thought, something they seems fucking weird. And so then it kind of shifts your perspective on someone. Back in the day, we didn't know shit about a lot of these actors unless it really got national news and it was on the 6 o'clock news. Otherwise, we didn't know shit. And really didn't fucking care because you just wanted to see the films. Now there's no mystery. You know how they say, like, if there's a movie villain and when it's mysterious, you don't know its backstory, it's a bit more intriguing. But the more you learn about them, the more you know about their backstory, the more you get used to them, the less effective they are. I think this is like these stars as well, these actors. The more you know and the more you get used to them and the more you know their flaws, they just, for some, don't seem as appealing. So, Yeah, this list, none of them are box office draws. I think Tom Cruise was at one point. Dwayne Johnson, I think, could have. But even then, like The Rundown, I liked. That didn't do well. Walking Tall was not this gargantuan hit. Doom, I liked, but that was a flop. Again, unless you deal with a franchise like the Jumanji sequels or Fast and Furious. And that was when he could have become a star. Like San Andreas did okay, but then, you know, the series of films afterward were not. I mean, I don't think those films. San Andreas, I don't think was good either, but I think people saw more of the qualms and discrepancies in films like Skyscraper afterward. Chris Evans, I didn't talk about him because he's not a star. He's Captain America. Robert Downey Jr., there was a point, Sherlock Holmes and Due Date, even to a point Tropic Thunder, but he didn't really do a whole lot outside of those franchises. The Judge and Doolittle. So I guess, to be honest though, if you got paid that much goddamn money, you didn't really have to do anything. Robert Downey Jr. is like one of those guys like I didn't get tired of seeing. Oh my God, he's making another film. I never felt that way. So I think that's why like people still kind of like Robert Downey Jr. because he didn't overstay his welcome. Doesn't mean I need to see him as Doctor Doom, but that's a whole nother topic. But yeah, Chris Pratt, I didn't even mention him. Jurassic World, huge franchise. Guardians of the Galaxy, then he was in the later Avengers films, huge. What was that film he was in? The with the aliens? Did that even do well? He was in Passengers. That didn't do well. Oh, he was in the Mario movie. That's what he was the voice in the Mario movie, so that definitely helped. But again, people saw that movie because it's Mario, Super Mario Bros. They didn't see that because of Chris Pratt. And I like Chris Pratt. I have nothing against Chris Pratt. Like Garfield, I didn't see that film. I don't even know what that film did. The Lego movie. But again, people didn't go see the Lego movie because, Chris Pratt's voicing them. It's because, they grew up with Legos. I didn't, but a lot of people did. And it got a lot of good word of mouth. What was that fucking film he was in that was a sci-fi movie? Oh, remember The Electric State? That was a big flop. The Tomorrow War. Did the Tomorrow War... Did that do anything? It was on streaming, so I don't know. One of the most expensive films to debut.